When describing a pistol, the last thing you want to hear is cheap, but that's probably the best adjective to describe this pistol, which is the Rock Island Model 206. That thing is painful to shoot, actually. But as you can see, it works just fine. And for sub $300, this is actually not a terrible buy. So, like I said, this is the Rock Island Model 206. It is a 38 special revolver, and it's definitely cheap. Like, this is the cheapest 38 special revolver that I would like actually carry, like for self-defense or anything like that. But when you say cheap, like in this case, it's almost a good thing. So, like this pistol, it's almost comical, like, how much this thing looks like if you gave, like, a kid, like, "Hey, draw me a revolver," you know, this is what it looks like. It looks like the gun emoji that used to be on the iPhone before they switched it to the squirt gun. Rest in peace to the gun emoji on the iPhone. But this thing, it just looks, you know, it's like if you envision, like, a stereotypical revolver, like, this is it, which, again, I'm, like, dogging it out, but I actually like this thing a pretty good bit. Like I said, it's sub $300. It's actually quite a bit under $300. Can't give a definite price. YouTube will kick in my front door and remove me from their servers. But this thing, it's definitely a good value. Like it's cheap, but for the money you spend, like you actually get a pretty decent pistol for your money. And as you can tell, this is like designed as a concealed carry type pistol. This is obviously not for like, you know, hunting or anything like that, mainly because it has no hammer and it is a double action only revolver, meaning you can only shoot it by pulling the trigger, that you cannot manually cock it and then have a, you know, cleaner, crisper single action trigger break. But, you know, for a concealed carry pistol, you know, it'll get the job done. Now, I don't know what holsters are out there for this. I just got this thing, and I'll tell you this, it's a chunk of steel. This thing is heavy. It's massive. Like for a snub nose 38 special revolver, it's like that tall, which is kind of crazy. For comparison, I have my trusty Smith Wesson model 442 J-frame revolver. It's an airweight that I've carried forever. And you can see how these pistols stack up. I've got them on the trigger guards, and you can see that the Model 206 from Rock Island is just absolutely ginormous compared to this thing, and quite a bit heavier, like I mentioned. Now, granted, this is an airweight pistol, so you know it's lightened as much as possible, and it has the it's designed to be as light as possible. And this thing obviously is not. This thing is, like I said, a chunk of steel. It's solid. If you run out of bullets, you can, if you still have to defend yourself, you can just start hitting people with this thing. It is definitely not going to fail in that regard. But you can just see the thickness of the barrel comparisons. Like, it's just solid as can be. Hopefully you can see that pretty well. But it's honestly not a fair comparison to compare these two pistols. So this one's designed for maximum concealability, lightweight, and it's a 5-shot revolver. Now this thing is a 6-shot revolver, which is actually a plus. You know, I always like having as much capacity as I possibly can. But with that extra round, you get a bigger cylinder, you get a bigger overall pistol. So is it worth it, you know, for your concealed carry needs? That's just something you have to decide for yourself. This is probably the best like carry revolver that's on the market, in my opinion. There's a lot of good options like the Ruger lightweight compact revolvers and all, but you can't go wrong with a Smith & Wesson 442. It just fits in the hand so seamlessly. But, you know, this thing's half the price basically. So, you know, you can't scoff at that. Now, like I mentioned, this thing was pretty, I wouldn't say painful to shoot. I said painful earlier. That's probably an exaggeration. But this thing is not comfortable to shoot. Now, as you can see, it's got this set of wood grips on it, which is just peak aesthetics for this revolver. It also comes with this extended rubber grip that I have still in the package, but it gives you an extra finger that you can get on the grip. I can barely get 2, and my pinky's just kind of hanging on for dear life down at the bottom. But with this thing, you get like full full grip with all your fingers on here, which that's a definite upgrade. But just looking at this thing, I just love the way this thing looks with these wood grips. It looks pretty dang good with those wood grips. You really can't deny that. But coming back to the shootability, this pistol has a lot of sharp edges on the back. You can see right here around where your hammer is and right here at the top of the grip. I would say just sharp. You know, look right here how I'm gripping it in my hand. You know, the web of my hand is just engulfing these two metal sides right here. And when this thing recoils, it's just going straight back into here, which, you know, obviously, if you're carrying this pistol and you have to use it, like, you're not going to be worrying about that. But when you're out on the range practicing with this thing, shooting it a lot, it's definitely not going to be a pleasant experience. Now, obviously, you can't compare shooting this to like your Glock 19 or anything like that because it's just a complete different league. But I would say adding those black rubber grips, if you're going to be shooting this like as just a range toy or, you know, just fun to plink with, I definitely throw those rubber grips on there. But like I mentioned, this is a 6-shot revolver, which is actually pretty cool. Most like concealed carry revolvers are going to be 5-shot. So having that extra bullet is pretty cool. But like I said, it comes with the added weight and size. The sponsor of today's video is tsdprints.com, which is actually our own company where we sell all of our 3D printed accessories and tools. So if you go to tsdprints.com and use code TSD25, you'll get 25% off your entire purchase, and orders $50 and above ship for free. So it's a great way to help the channel and keep the content coming. Yeah, that's very unpleasant to shoot. That's just the second time I've shot a full cylinder out of it. And that thing is snappy, which most 38 special revolvers are. But like I said, it's mainly this edge right here and that edge right there that are just eating into my hand. So, you know, not your most comfortable revolver to shoot day after day, but, you know, as a concealed carry choice, it's not terrible. Just for a comparison, I'm going to shoot a cylinder through this, my 442. And you can see just how much better the grip is on this thing. And what they did on this 442 is they had the rubber come up, you know, onto this metal frame where my thumb will wrap around it. So, you know, they kind of saw the problem and kind of addressed it that way. But we'll shoot, like I said, only 5 out of this thing, but we'll get a feel for this pistol. So shooting them back to back, this thing kicks a whole lot more than the Model 206. And that's gonna be mainly due to the just huge amount of weight increase that this pistol has over this pistol. But I've never shot these back to back, but shooting them back to back, this is like twice the recoil, felt recoil of this pistol. So that's actually, I didn't realize it was gonna be that much. So I almost like to shoot this thing. Again, add the rubber grips if you're going to be shooting it a lot. But if I was going to be shooting these all day on the range, I would definitely go with this one. Now, this has a better trigger pull. This has a, I wouldn't say rougher trigger pull. It's just not as smooth. It's a little bit firmer. It feels like a little bit heavier. But just all around shootability, this one takes the lead, minus the uncomfortable grips that's on it currently. To wrap this one up, I would categorize this pistol as just a fun addition to your collection. I would not go buy this as your primary carry pistol. There's a lot better options out there, but there's just something cool about having a cheap 38 special snub nose that, you know, if you're just going out real quick and you just want to throw one in your pocket to have, you know, a decent amount of firepower at your disposal for self-protection, this is not a terrible option. Like I said, it's heavy, it's a little bit bulkier than some of your other revolver options, but it's gonna go bang, and it's got 6 rounds of 38 special, which is nothing to laugh at. So for the money you pay for this thing, I think it's actually a pretty good bargain. So I'm well pleased with this pistol. The more I shoot it, it's painful, but it's actually a pretty good shooting revolver. So you really can't go wrong for the price. Like I mentioned many times already, the price is really what sets this pistol apart. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you wouldn't mind, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next video.